Alejandro orders Ellie and Wyvern to help the refugees. He orders them to hunt the animals around that town, thinking of it as helping a bunch of useless people. She didn't know why he sent the two of them there, and didn't know what his plot was. While going on this mission, Aoife and Ellie bond together. Ellie explains her mother was also a swordsman and that she had disappeared. Since then, Alejandro took her and used her by implanting an artificial system in her. They also discuss how spreading the news of a dragon's nest is part of Alejandro's plan to capture a bigger dragon. Meanwhile, the priest asks Atis to go on this mission alone. Eric refuses and wanted to accompany him. However, Atis accepted on going alone. As they leave in the carriage, the priest tells Atis his new identity for the mission. Next, we see many people preparing to leave for the dragon's nest. Hunters are seen battling each other in order to be selected for the dragon's nest. We see Atis in disguise as a woman entering to participate. As she hands over her documents, which showed a lower level, the examiner passes her immediately. When the other hunters start to complain, he says the dragon's nest is in need of mages. Ellie is suspicious of Atis and tries to battle him. After blocking her first attack, Atis planned not to show his full power. Just then, they are interrupted by a freak-eater, Polypork. However, he is taken down by the examiner in one strike. Atis is shocked by his strength and realizes he is an aura user. It is then shown in a flashback that Eric is trying to learn how to use aura. He is frustrated by the failure to do so. Atis explains it is a difficult thing to learn, however, he must learn to use it as the upcoming monsters will be more dangerous. Eric continues his struggle. Meanwhile, Atisa rushes to help the freak-eater the examiner took down. He suggests taking him with them to the dragon's nest. As they reach there, Atisa doubts whether this is a dragon's nest or not. Ellie is suspicious of him. Ellie tells him that the examiner is also the head of security and is a strong person. Just then, the examiner asks Atis to accompany him to meet Alejandro. On the way, it is revealed that the examiner is one of the priest's spies as well and is on the same side as Atis. Just when they reach the door, Alejandro suddenly strikes him out of nowhere and kills him. He finds out he is a part of the Order of the Light and now questions Atis. In the meantime, Ellie figures out that Atis is actually a dragon in disguise. Just when she thought of saving her, it was too late. The fight between Alejandro and Atis had begun. Alejandro completely overpowered Atis. Ellie thought of ending Atis's life before he turns into a dragon. Eifer stops her and takes responsibility for doing it instead. Alejandro is now holding Atis by his neck. He plans on killing him. Just then, someone on the other side of the nest started to gather life force. Alejandro was now convinced Atis is not the dragon. Ellie comes in and talks to Alejandro. Atis realized she had saved him. Ellie suggested using Atis to fix this place. This was an attempt to save him. Alejandro put Ellie in charge of him. Atis then meets Eifer, and it is revealed that Eifer was the one who helped him by gathering the life force. Meanwhile, Eric is seen in chaos as he's unable to access anything in the home due to his low level. He then has no choice but to go to the Hunters Guild for missions. The receptionist then tells him to find her brother and bring him here. The brother is no other than the priest. A pop-up then asks if Eric wants to use the tracking skill. After much calculation, the skill only showed the direction in which Priest Emil was. Eric has second thoughts. Meanwhile, in a cave, Emil is seen held captive by some wolf-like monsters. It is then revealed a weird-looking insect scientist is behind the creation of artificial guidelines. He has created a flawless artificial system in the form of a worm. The crazy scientist inserts it into the priest's nose. Just then, Eric arrives in the cave. He destroys the wolf-like monsters with one swing of his sword. He then asks Emil about the location of the dragon's nest. Meanwhile, Alejandro is seen experimenting with life force on a live subject. Without the dragon core, the subject would die from overdose or turn into something deadly. The latter happened with the subject. At the same time, Eifer is determined to learn how to absorb the life force in her core. Just then, the mutated test subject comes out of the ground. Atis attacks it but has no effect. Eifer rushed towards the monster to fight it. However, the monster grabs it by the neck. Alejandro is seen collecting an artifact, a deadly knife, to prepare for the fight. Eifer then takes the monster to high ground, collecting life force again. This time it succeeds and successfully absorbs the life force while killing the monster. Just as they celebrate, Alejandro suddenly appears. He is now after Eifer, who now has a dragon core. He completely overpowers Atis and Ellie and rushes toward Eifer. In the meantime, Eric is seen struggling to find a way to the dragon's nest. Just then, he sees a bright explosion at a distance. Realizing that this is Alejandro, he makes a high jump toward the nest. Alejandro defeats Aoife and successfully takes the dragon's core. He attacks Ellie and stabs her with his dagger. Aoife and Ellie escape into the basement thanks to Atis. He attacks Alejandro with all his might. However, Alejandro defends against it. He counterattacks. Just when Atis thought this was the end, Eric showed up. He punched Alejandro so hard that he was sent flying. However, even after his bones were crushed, Alejandro healed himself using the dragon core. He now faces Eric. Alejandro rushed towards Eric at high speed. His full-force attack had no effect on Eric. Seeing this, Alejandro confirms Eric's level is higher than 5. Eric counterattacks and smashes him to the ground. Just when he was about to squash him like a bug, Atis stopped him. He claimed that if Alejandro dies, the dragon nest will collapse. Eric tells Atis to head toward the basement to help Ellie and Aoife. Meanwhile, he will take care of Alejandro without killing him. Atis leaves, and a battle between Alejandro and Eric is now about to begin. Next, we see Aoife and Ellie down in the basement. As they search for the source of the life force, they encounter something dangerous. Hendy, the examiner, had been turned into a high-level monster by Alejandro. He attacked Aoife and Ellie, but Atis joined the fight and is now up against the huge minster Hendy. Meanwhile, Eric and Alejandro are in a fierce battle. Alejandro thinks Eric would not be able to withstand his electric attacks. However, Eric defends against a fierce attack using brute force. Eric claimed Atis is a level 67 dragon and can take on the monster beneath. Alejandro realized Ellie took the unique item from him that was preventing Atis to transform. Now Atis battles the monster Henry, going all out. A ferocious battle starts as Atis takes on Henry. Ellie successfully cuts the channel through which the life force was flowing. Meanwhile, Eric overpowers Alejandro completely. He tries to make a deal with Eric and asks him to leave with the dragon. Eric breaks his leg, realizing he can't heal any longer. Just then, Alejandro injects an artificial system into him and becomes a terrifying monster, Ormflaus, with a high level. In the basement, the auntie working under Alejandro stabs Ellie and activates the fusion core. Now the fusion core is about to explode. Atis tries to absorb the life force, but it is too much for him to absorb. Ellie claims that only Aoife can save everyone. Meanwhile, Eric now goes against Alejandro in his immortal monster form. Even though Alejandro can't be defeated, it is explained he can still feel the pain Eric inflicts. Eric starts to continuously obliterate Alejandro. At the same time, using the unique item, Ellie transforms Aoife into a human swordsman. Aoife, now in her human form, starts walking. Atis is astonished as to how talented Aoife is to start walking right after transforming into a human for the first time. Just then, Alejandro and Eric come bursting down from the ceiling. Eric is amazed looking at Aoife in her human form. Eric then holds Alejandro, and simultaneously, Aoife displays extraordinary skills to dodge Alejandro's attacks. She finally cuts the fusion core. They are victorious, however. Ellie passed away due to her injuries. Emile, along with others from the Order of the Light, shows up and rescues all the survivors. At the Temple of the Order of the Light, Aoife is imprisoned and will be going for a trial in front of the judges. This is because she was an accomplice of Ellie who was working under Alejandro. Atis and Eric try to defend her, but there is nothing that can be done. However, Emile suggests to Eric that she can be pardoned because of her contributions if he were to do a few missions. Eric is excited. The first mission is to subjugate some ghosts. Leslie and a mysterious man are discussing the past at a mysterious house. The man blames Alejandro for the failure of their previous plan due to his greediness. Leslie argues that blaming the dead will not help. The man compliments Leslie for retrieving the crystal ball, saying it will help apologize for creating the dragon's nest. However, the Order of the Sedges suspects them. Leslie shows him photos of Bannister and Ryu Hanbin, who are actively seeking the Great Earth. The man says there are other outsiders who can replace them, and the only reason they chose Leslie and the man is that they can suppress their desire to slaughter. For now, they need to clean up the place quickly before others get suspicious. Leslie suggests they create a mission where they can break each other's teeth to stop biting. She will ask about an old villa near the village that is actually used by the Great Earth Society for experiments. The place is full of traps and pitfalls. Ryu Hanbin is on duty there. He will go with the Wyvern tomorrow, while Bannister will go alone in Ryu Hanbin's place. The hallway continues endlessly, trapping the two inside. Ryu Hanbin and Ifer find themselves trapped in a vault-like house with a ghost. The ghost sets up tests and traps to challenge them. However, Ryu Hanbin and Ifer are not afraid and manage to overcome the obstacles. Ryu Hanbin then realizes the ghost is actually a human who wants to be understood. The ghost reveals powers that cause chaos in the cellar. Bannister determines that magic belongs to the Great Earth and can create artificial systems. He realizes he must find the ghost quickly before the place falls apart. Bannister suspects the ghost is hiding somewhere safe. As expected, Bannister finds Ryu Hanbin being possessed by the ghost. A battle is taking place inside Ryu Hanbin's head between Ryu Hanbin and an invading ghost. The Wyvern and others want to help the ghost, thinking it is an experiment, while the ghost wants to take over Ryu Hanbin's body and mind. The battle involves sharing memories, with Ryu Hanbin's painful past memories making it easier for the ghost to invade deeper. Bad memories from when Ryu Hanbin was alone in the mountains for 22 years come flooding back. However, ghosts also have bad memories from being locked inside, like the ghost's dark personality within the mansion. The Wyvern is unsure how fierce the internal battle is after Ryu Hanbin leaves the house. Meanwhile, Leslie and Richard arrive at the Magic Kingdom, the mecca of magic items and home of the Thinkers' Magic Guild. The Magicians' Conference starts with a small lecture, but as the royal family begins to collect magical items, the Thinkers' items gradually become famous, making the Mage Workshop a place to announce new magic items. After waking up, the ghost girl initially believed she was dead, but felt an unusual sense of hell. Feeling like a mere tool with a useless existence, she realized that if she died, the others would escape the mansion while she would be hunted. Despite finding some happiness and relief before her death, her thoughts were interrupted by a talking dog that revealed she was still inside Ryu Hanbin's mind, shocked by this revelation. Later, everyone was released from the building, and a trial was imminent. Bannister freed the Phantom as a trap trigger, rendering her skills useless, and planned to bring her to court. On their way, Bannister informed Ryu Hanbin about Thinker's lead, the powerful magician Anova, and her role as queen in the Magic Kingdom. Zenova expressed gratitude to Garin, and agreed to start a mysterious endeavor concerning darkness, and the incarnation named Kivir, tasked with fulfilling a promise heroes fought valiantly for the world, believing in their victory as the last line of defense. They received the goddess's blessing, but it came with a catch, a countdown to death. Despite the belief that immortality wasn't sought by higher beings, the children of the goddess fought evil and died while the world descended into chaos. Garin rejects the need for goddesses, advocating immortal heroes as true protectors. Goddesses exist in a higher dimension, beyond human understanding, making them invulnerable. The Garins plan to absorb the goddess's darkness, stripping her of Ormflaus's aid. In the frozen lands of the Cauldry Kingdom, the existence of dragon nests baffles the populace, and the arrival of heresy investigators adds an air of intrigue to the situation. Among those present is a figure referred to as the Mass Key War, who holds a piece of vital information but fears the consequences of sharing it. As he kneels on the ground, contemplating his options, the uncertainty of the investigator's intentions weighs heavily on him. Meanwhile, in the region of Crater Valley, the reputation of a remarkable hunter named Effer spreads like wildfire. Renowned for her ability to single-handedly defeat formidable monsters, she becomes a source of admiration and awe. However, not everyone is as impressed with her choice of profession. An aristocratic judge expresses curiosity about Effer but dismisses her work as dirty and unfitting for a girl of her beauty. Within the Hunters Guild, clashes between hunters are an unavoidable consequence of their perilous occupation. Among the members, a newcomer from Earth, Zhang Lunchen, finds himself entangled in a skirmish with another hunter, Ryu Hanbin, leading to a series of unfortunate events that result in the injury of the noble judge. Subsequently, both Ryu Hanbin and Zhang Lunchen are sent to the foreboding Crater Prison, a mysterious 26-floor facility built by outsiders. Inside the prison, Zhang Lunchen is determined to reduce his sentence by showing compassion to his fellow prisoners. Ryu Hanbin, however, stays by his side, cognizant of the crucial information Zhang holds and the potential repercussions that could follow. Meanwhile, Garin, a member of the enigmatic Dark Alliance, awaits the completion of a plan that involves the Great Earth and harnessing the divine power of the goddesses. Leslie, a daring infiltrator, is also present. seeking a valuable shard hidden within the dragon's nest. The Rathnians, deeply scarred by the Great Earth's past attack on the goddesses, consider outsiders, such as Earthlings, as enemies. Garhen's prison houses both aliens and Rathnians, where secret experiments take place in a hidden arena. As Leslie uncovers the surprising revelation of Valterra's survival, chaos ensues in the prison when the noble judge offers freedom to anyone who dares to stand up to Ryuhan Bin. In the depths of the prison, Ryuhan Bin and Zhang Lunchen engage in hunting animals, seeking to level up and secure their release. The use of magic stones and the unique powers of Rathnians prove essential in their quest to become stronger and escape their confines. As they wait for Leslie's assistance, an exhilarating match ensues in the arena, where monsters flood the area. The participants vie fiercely for victory, striving to be the one who emerges triumphant, their eyes firmly fixed on freedom.
Hey viewers, subscribe for next part.